Heart disease is a family problem.
But research scientists have found ways to control and treat this silent disease. Help us in the fight to reduce early death and disability from cardiovascular disease. Support the American Heart Association. We're fighting for your life.
I just remember being on the beach with them and holding them and them being as little as they were and thinking about what the next month held and the next bunch of months.
I remember the hockey game you played after you had your surgery. You played with us. It'd be so weird if you couldn't do anything. Like, I have to play with this little nerd all the time.
Through all of it, it was like, what would life without him be? He's such a role model with 2 boys. I didn't want to keep going back to life without him.
Justin was born with one of his pulmonary veins drained abnormally. So instead of draining to the left side of the heart, where he should, he drained in the right side of the heart.
You know, he had battled some other things at birth. I think in his mind, God had given him his test and that was it. It was big news to us. No signs of anything. And then this.
Over all those years since he was born until he was in his 30s when he had the surgery, the right side of the heart was getting an excess amount of blood flow. If it goes untreated for a lifetime, it could have significant consequences.
I know his first thought was most certainly Ashley, Jake, and Leo.
My boys were extremely young. I know Goodnight Moon was the book at the time that I would read before bed. I tried to write them each a little note with some things to carry with them through life in the event that things didn't go as all had hoped. You know, be kind, work hard, take care of your mom.
We have to understand that before prenatal diagnosis, kids would be born and sent home. Patients with critical heart defects could just have sudden death at home. And that's almost completely disappeared now.
I don't think you ever really know you're going to be okay, but I have every reason to believe that if you're a cardiac patient in Pittsburgh, that you should have great confidence in receiving care here.
You know, I think Justin's done an incredible job at accepting what this is all about. Just because you have a congenital heart defect doesn't mean that your life needs to be affected in any major way, short of just coming and getting a little haircut by us in the surgical department. It doesn't have to be a lethal disease. We treat all kinds of patients with congenital heart disease every day, and the outlook is incredible.
Had I been born now, the defect probably would have been discovered way, way earlier, and I think that's really simply because of advances in the medicine and the testing that's been made that can find these things early in younger patients.
I always feel so happy when I'm able to sit down with the families and explain to them, yes, there's a problem, but it's something that we see every day, and it's something that we can fix, and it's something that shouldn't necessarily affect your kid's life in a major way.
It's going to be detected, it's going to be able to be taken care of, and then they're going to live a healthy, full life not knowing anything different. What's available now is just so amazing.
It's truly incredible that we can have a conversation about something that's going to happen months in the future on a child that has not been born yet. I always tell families, it says, this scar you see in the chest is not going to define your child. This will. I'm also the father of a child who was operated for congenital heart disease. Believe it or not, a lot of us are touched by this problem.
Every family is aware of the effects of stroke and heart disease. There's probably not one family in America that hasn't been impacted in some way by the work of the American Heart Association, and many, many, many have no idea that that's the case, but it's likely a fact.
The American Heart Association is always in the forefront of research. If you get a paper accepted to the AHA, it's like, wow, you really accomplished something.
That's where the money goes, is to this research, so that your child, your newborn, they're not going to have the same thing when they're 35.
Ultimately, what that equates to is survivorship, to advancements in how we are treating and caring for patients with cardiovascular disease. And it also translates to prevention of cardiovascular disease. So fundraisers like Heartball, like Go Red for Women, like Heart Walk are critical to advancing our mission.
I felt a hand on my shoulder, and he said, "Hey, Justin, how you doing? You're gonna do fine today," which I will never forget that.
It's a team approach to the care of congenital heart disease. When I was initially in practice, I truly didn't have dedicated ICU doctors taking care of my patients before I came to Pittsburgh.
Everybody has a story, and ours turned out really well.
When I think about how far my family's come, to not be able to be a part of that is hard to imagine.
I just consider us incredibly blessed.
This is just a little bump in the road or a challenge to take on, and you're gonna get through it